You have killed those. You are culpable for the death of people that shouldn't have happened because you prophesy lies. Our responsibility is so big. All right, everybody, welcome back again to Bible 365. I hope it's again. I hope you're sticking with me. If you are brand new, you've never been here before, I'm your host, Kathy Carter, and I am bringing you the Bible every single day. Every single day, 365 days. So for 1 year, I'm reading through the Bible in chronological order, which means historical, right? So it's not the way that when you crack open the Bible, you're going to just read it from cover to cover. It's actually in a historical order. And so you would need to go to oneyearbibleonline.com, download a chronological Bible reading plan. I have no affiliation with them. I just think it was a great chronological storyline, right? It's certainly not perfect. None of them are perfect. We don't know for sure the way in which it was exactly done, but they did their best, and I think they did a really great job. And so today is day 231, Bible 365, 231, 818, so August 18th, and our reading today is Ezekiel 10 through 13. So Ezekiel is in the 590s BC, right? So before Christ, which I know isn't technically BC, but whatever. I like to use that anyway because I'm old. All right, so the nation of Israel has been taken away. Little itty bitty Jerusalem is left. Judah has sort of been scattered. So it was Israel and Judah. Judah has sort of been scattered. Some people went down. It looks like they went to Egypt. Some people to other nations, maybe Arabia. Some people were taken into Babylon. Babylon has overtaken a huge area. And according to God and the prophecy that he sent through Ezekiel and Jeremiah, he's going to take over the entire area. So there's going to be a time where he's like, everyone needs to surrender to Nebuchadnezzar. He's going to take it all. But after that, people are going to rise up, and then they're going to crush Nebuchadnezzar's grandson. So we see it's going to be not for a little bit of time. Ezekiel is living in the nation of Babylon. So he's prophesying from the nation of Babylon with the other exiles. So what we do know is, if we went back to some of the prophecies that we saw, is what we do know is these people are going to eventually be saved, and they're going to be brought back into the nation of Israel. They're going to have their land back. Now, I don't know, at least probably 20 to 30 to 40 years, right? He's saying 70, right? That's kind of God's outline right now. His prophetic outline is 70 years. They're going to come back. Probably the people who are living right now probably are not going to be alive when they come back. But they're going to be descendants that are going to come back, and they're going to come back and worship the Lord. Ezekiel is prophesying to these people because the truth is that they are still not listening. So even in exile, because in exile, they need to worship the Lord. They don't need to turn to the gods of whoever they're worshiping in Babylon. They don't need to turn to any other random gods in any other area, but they need to turn their eyes and hearts towards the Lord, even in exile, or maybe especially in exile, right? And they also need to be told what is going on in Jerusalem. And so they need to have an understanding of what's happening to the people, because they're not there anymore. So maybe they don't know what's happening or why these things are happening, right? They don't really have all of the information. And that's some of the things that God has Ezekiel for. So we're going to start on Ezekiel 10. And so here we go. So it says, I looked. So he's still in this vision. So yesterday we left and he was in the midst of this vision. And in this vision, God was showing Ezekiel in the nation of Jerusalem, right? Or Judah, Jerusalem. He was showing him all the things that the people in Jerusalem were doing wrong. Let's call them Israelites. I'm going to call them Israelites. All the things that the Israelites were doing wrong. So at each gate, right, he was showing them some bad things. And then some of them were going to be killed. And then some of them were going to have a mark on their foreheads, and they were going to be protected because they were the ones who were sad and lamenting over all the detestable things that were going on by the nation of Israel, right, against their God that they love so much. So he's still in this vision, and it says, I looked and I saw the likeness of a throne of lapis lazuli over the vault of the heads of the cherubim. So now we find out that those weird four-faced things are cherubim, right? So that's now what we know as cherubim. That's the way that Ezekiel sees them. That's the way God is showing to Ezekiel the wheel thing and the angel wings and things like that. And so he sees all of them, and then this is what's going to happen. He says, go in among the wheels beneath the cherubim. Remember that one circle, it's got eyes all over it, and then another circle goes this way, a wheel goes this way, it's got eyes all over it. Fill your hands with burning coals from among the cherubim and scatter those coals all over the city. So he's going to burn the city, right? This is the image that he's making. And then he says, I looked, I'm going down to 9, and I saw beside the cherubim 4 wheels, one beside each of them. They sparkled like topaz, right? The wheels are intersecting, and it's giving all these pictures, and there's eyes all over everything, right? And it said, I heard the wheels being called the whirling wheels. Each of the cherubim had 4 faces. One was a cherub, a human being, a lion, and an eagle. It said, these were the living creatures I had seen. So this is not necessarily a repeat, but he's saying like this is exactly the same thing that I saw when I saw by the Kedar River. Then the glory of the Lord departed from over the threshold of the temple and stopped above the cherubim. While I watched, they spread out their wings. They stopped at the entrance of the east gate of the Lord's house, of the temple, right? And then it says, their faces had the appearance that I'd seen by the river. Then the Spirit lifted me up and brought me to the gate that faces east. So now he's going to go there, and now he's going to see 2 priests. So he's got a vision, but he's seeing actual things. So he sees these 2 priests in the house of the Lord, right? And these are ones that we've heard before. Sorry, I know I keep saying right. The Lord said to me, Son of man, these are the men who were plotting evil and giving wicked advice in the city. Now this has to be a bit of a shock, because these are like the top people in the temple. And he's like, these are the people that are giving wicked advice to them. I know these are the people that are actually supposed to be for me the most. And they're the ones that are giving wicked advice to the rest of the nation, right? The ones that really they're supposed to trust. And they're giving wicked advice, right? Their evil is their own priests. And they say, this city is a pot and we are the meat in it. Now, I think the representation is that I want to say they're being cooked. I laugh as I say it because my kid says it all the time. He's like, yo, Mom, I'm cooked. When something bad happened, right? Like, oh, I got to stay late at work, I'm cooked. Or, oh, you didn't make me dinner, I'm cooked. Right? Stuff like that. So like, I kind of laugh when I hear this expression. But I think that's what they mean. Like, and they mean it in a sort of like, we're done for, we're the meat inside the pot, we're cooking, we're not the cookie. But he says that really they are the pot. They're the reason that these bad things are happening. He said, that's what you're saying, but I know what's going through your mind. You've killed many people in this city and filled its streets with the dead. Therefore, the bodies you have thrown in there are the meat. So you guys aren't the meat. The bodies that you have thrown in there, they are the meat, right? The city is the pot, but I'm going to drive you out. So he's going to clear this up. He's going to fix it. You're going to fall by the sword, and I'm going to execute judgment on you. This city will not be a pot for you, nor will you be the meat in it. I'm going to execute judgment for you at the borders of Israel. So now I'm taking you out. I'm taking you to the borders. And then you're going to know that I'm the Lord, and you haven't followed my ways, but have conformed to the standards of the nations around you. You're too worried, and you're too worried trying to be exactly like everybody else. And he says, now, as I was prophesying, so as he was saying this, Pelatiah died. And then I fell face down, Ezekiel, and I cried out, will you completely destroy the remnant of Israel? This is the second time he said this. So he's like looking at these priests, these people that he looked up to, these people that have been the word of the Lord, these people that have been the bridge between the people and the Lord. And he's like, Lord, what are you doing? Are you going to destroy everyone? Like, if you destroy the priests, are you going to destroy everyone? Right? And he's not. He's wreaking his vengeance on those that do evil to keep the remnant that is loving him and following him. So it says, the word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, the people of Jerusalem have said of your fellow exiles. So he's still in exile, right? They are far away from the Lord, so we get this land. So he's like, the people are saying they got exiled because they're far from the Lord, and we get the land. This is how we confuse if we have stuff, therefore we're blessed, right? Like, we get a lot of that confusion, and we say we don't get that confusion, but we absolutely get that confusion. Well, those who aren't blessed are the ones who don't have anything. And again, I know what we tell ourselves all the time, but I think in our hearts we have to have some reality that we think to ourselves, blessing equals having. And if God has given me, then I've been blessed, right? And then I've been blessed by the Lord. Therefore, say this, although I sent them far away, I'm a sanctuary for them. Therefore, you say to them, I'm going to gather you from the nations, and like to the exiles, I'm going to gather you guys from the nations, and I'm going to bring you back. They're going to, in verse 18, they will return to it and remove all vile images and detestable idols, and I will give them an undivided heart and put a new spirit in them. I want to make this also, I feel like I want to make this clear, and I see it clearly, but I know that I could be incorrect. I think that he's saying, when I bring them back and they follow me, I think that it is part and parcel. I think that it's not just like, oh, I'm going to bring these people back and I know that they're going to do all these things all over again. I'm going to bring them back because they're going to follow me. They followed me in a nation that wasn't their own. And then I'm going to save them. I'm going to pluck them up out of that land. I'm going to bring them back, right? The ones that have the marks on their forehead. I'm going to bring them back. And then, right, I'm going to give them, so I will give them an undivided heart and put a new spirit in them. I'm going to remove from them their heart of stone and give them a heart of flesh. Then they will follow my decrees and be careful to keep my laws. They will be my people and I will be their God. So even though they're looking towards him, even though they're following him, and I think this is important because those who aren't following him aren't going to get this. So those who are already reaching out, those who already love him, right? Those who are already glorifying him, he's going to literally bring them back into the land. And then he's going to change them from the inside. He's going to give them something else from the inside to change their hearts and to give them the ability to follow him. So it's not going to be just this outward thing. It's going to be something that's really internal. But as for those whose hearts are devoted to their vile images, I'm going to bring down on their own heads what they have done. So if you are not leaning towards him, if you are not looking towards the Lord, he's not going to change you, right? The faith has to be there. You have to recognize who the Lord is. All right, then it says, then the cherubim with the wheels inside them spread their wings. The glory of Israel was above them, right? And then so he says, and then the vision I had seen went up from me, and I told the exiles everything the Lord had said. So he saw all of these things. And then remember, he had been brought over into the land to kind of see everything that was going on. And then the Spirit of the Lord brought him back. And when they brought him back, he told all of the exiles. So they are not there's no secrets. There's nothing that they haven't been told by Ezekiel through God. So now they kind of know everything that Ezekiel knows, right? So now he wants them to know. So there's this fresh perspective for them. Here we go with the hope that is in you, right? So they say to themselves, right? I know who the Lord is. I love who the Lord is. I know that there's going to be this bad time. I know that he's going to be with me here, right? I know he's going to stay here and I know he's going to protect me here, right? And then I know when I keep reaching out to him and when we seek him, he's going to bring us back and then he's going to change us. This is, I think, what he's saying, and he's sharing this with the people. All right, so now we have, going down to Ezekiel 12 and 13, which are our next two chapters, I feel like it flips a little bit on its head. And the reason is because to me, it sounds like this is chronologically, I don't want to say out of order, but it feels like there are these whole list of visions that Ezekiel has, or prophecies, visions, whatever it is. And they kind of go like boom, 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 boom. They seem to put them like all in this, like, it feels like just as, I want to say an extra text. It's not an extra biblical text, but it's like this extra text. Because, and I say this because it seems like when he's talking to him, he actually hasn't been taken out of the nation of Judah yet, right? He hasn't been exiled because of who he's talking to. Because he says, like, say this to these people. Again, I want you to hold this very loosely in your hands. I'm definitely not 100% sure, but it seems to me like somebody kind of like stuck in like 2 sheets of paper that just has a whole bunch of his visions in there. So bear with these visions as they are, because there's a few of them. So he says, the word of the Lord came to me, son of man, and this is what, right, the Lord's just constantly giving him visions. You're living among a rebellious people. They have eyes to see, but do not see, and ears to hear, but do not hear, for they are a rebellious people. And this is why I think he's still in the nation of Judah, or the nation of Jerusalem, right, the land of Jerusalem, because this is where the rebellious people are kind of still being held. The other ones were taken away, but it certainly could be the other. Therefore, pack your belongings for exile, See what he's doing here? And in the daytime, as they watch, so they're going to look at you. Just what a visual, right? Imagine he's doing this. Imagine this crazy lunatic, right? Packing up all of his stuff and pretending like he's going into exile, right? He's eating his food out there. Because again, here we go, physical representation of what's going to happen to them. This is a warning. He's going to go out and he's going to do it, and you're going to live this really soon. And then he says, dig through the wall and take your belongings out through them. Put them on your shoulder. Cover your face so you can't see the land. And then Ezekiel's like, so I did what I was commanded. I did all that. I brought my stuff with me. I dug through the wall with my hands. I took out my belongings, carrying them on my shoulders. And in the morning, the word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, did not the Israelites ask you what you're doing? This makes me think of the story of Noah, right? Like, imagine Noah. We were all the way back in Genesis. And God was like, build a boat, a really, 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 really big boat. Go find wood. I know it doesn't really rain here, but go build, and you're in the middle of dry land, but go build a boat. Like, he must have seemed insane. So the following these people do, I think, is miraculous. I don't know if I would, I don't want to say I wouldn't do this. But it would be really hard for me to be so outrageous as to pretend to run away and not really run away. And so he says, didn't you do them? And they say, what are you doing? Say to them, so you're going to tell them what they're doing. This prophecy concerns the prince in Jerusalem and all the Israelites who are there. Say to them, I'm assigned to you. So this is, again, it says, say to them, so you're actually talking to the people of Jerusalem. This is why I think he's in Jerusalem. As I have done, so it will be done to them. They're going to go into exile as captives. So exactly what just happened to you, that's what's going to happen to them. They're going to go into exile as captives. I'm going to bring him to Babylonia, the land of the Chaldeans, but he's not going to see it, and there he's going to die, the prince. And then they're going to know that I'm the Lord. And it says, the word of the Lord came to me, Son of man. So this is another one. Tremble as you eat and shudder in fear as you drink. Say to the people of the land, this is what the Lord says about about those living in Jerusalem. They're going to eat their food in anxiety and drink their water in despair because their land is going to be stripped, right? So here we go, second one. So he's just eating and shuddering in front of people. He's trembling and he's shaking because that's the way the people are going to behave. Here's another one. Son of man, what is this proverb you have of the land of Israel? The days go by and every vision comes to nothing. And he's like, that's not going to happen anymore. This is what the sovereign Lord says. I'm going to put an end to this proverb. The days are coming where everything is going to come true. And they could say this because I think of even Isaiah. Isaiah had so many prophecies that haven't come true yet, 100+ years later, and they hadn't come true yet. Judah had still not been completely captured. And so they could definitely think, oh, those prophecies, they weren't coming true. But he says, but the Lord will speak what I will, and it shall be fulfilled without delay. So now it's coming. I will fulfill whatever I say, declares the sovereign Lord. Then it says, Son of man, the vision he sees is for many years from now, and he prophesies about the distant future. That's what the Israelites say. Therefore say to them, none of my words are going to be delayed any longer. So now be prepared, because everything that I've said is coming. Here's another one. The word of the Lord came to me. Son of man, prophesy against the prophets of Israel who are now prophesying. You say against those who are already saying. And what are those already saying? They're all saying, like, peace, even though there's no peace. So it says, hear the word of the Lord. Woe to the foolish prophets. They are like jackals among you, right? You haven't gone up to the breaches of the wall to repair it. Their visions are false and their divinations a lie. Even though the Lord hasn't sent them, they said, the Lord says this. So the Lord is not telling them to do all of these things. And they're going out and they're doing and saying all these things anyway. Because of your false words, I'm against you. Because you lead my people astray, saying peace when there is no peace. When a flimsy wall is built, they cover it with whitewash. Again, here we go with a figurative expression of something literal. You put up this wall, you cover it and make it super pretty. You cover it with whitewash, and it's not. It's still a junky wall, and it's still going to fall down. They didn't make a real wall. They just put a fake thing up there. Remember that line, by the way, because we're going to see that in the future. And it says they built this flimsy wall and they cover it with whitewash. Therefore tell them it's going to fall. Verse 13, this is what the sovereign Lord says. In my wrath, I'm going to unleash wind, hailstones, rain, and I'm going to tear down the wall, and you're going to be destroyed in it. The wall is gone, and so are those who whitewashed it. So you're going to die with the wall. Now I'm coming to another one. Now we're going against the women. Now, son of man, set your face against the daughters of your people who prophesy out of their own imagination. What I love about God, and I feel like I shouldn't even add it, but I feel like I have to add it. In the day and age that we're in, I feel like we have to add it. He's not discriminating. Like, oh, women say this and men say that. He first prophesies about the men who are prophesying lies, and now he's coming out against the women. I have this crazy hair. And now he's coming out about the women who are prophesying lies. So he's like, say to these daughters, woe to the women who sew magic charms on their wrists and make veils of various lengths for their heads. Right? By lying to my people who listen to lies, you have killed those who should not have died. You have killed those. You are culpable for the death of people that shouldn't have happened because you prophesy lies. Our responsibility is so big. I need you guys to take that on yourselves. And I know we don't want to take that on ourselves, but there is a reality to the situation that we are responsible. These women prophesied lies and people died because of it. And I'm going to use this expression we love to use. They died before their time. He says it right here, right? He didn't say, well, I prophesied that they were, right? They died before their time. And it was because these women are liars. They were not prophesying truth. Be careful when you lie. Be careful what you say. Therefore, this is what the sovereign word says. I'm against your magic charms with which you ensnare people. I will set free the people that you ensnare like birds. I will tear off your veils and save my people. Because you disheartened the righteous with your lies, and when I had brought them no grief, and because you encouraged the wicked not to turn from their evil ways, and so save their lives. Therefore, you will no longer see false visions or practice divination. I will save my people from your hands, and then you will know that I am the Lord. And the way he's going to save the people is he's going to destroy a lot of the people. And he's going to take some of the people out. Does that mean all of the people he takes out are the good guys? Nope, it does not mean that, right? Some of them are going to have marks on their foreheads, but we're not going to know. We're not going to see that. He knows, but we don't know any of that. What we know and what we need to be careful of and what we need to value is the truth and the way in which we speak the truth. We are responsible for the truth that we speak. We are responsible for the lies that we speak. We are responsible for the charms that we put on in order to say certain things or to turn certain people certain ways, right? Like that we our fear of the Lord, or our fear of man, we are responsible for that. I didn't say because I was afraid, or I didn't do this because, or I did this because. We can't use that as an excuse because God has given us himself in order to protect us from those things. And if we are not protected from those things, if we lose friendships, if we lose family, if we lose jobs, right? Like the truth is more important than any of those things. And that's, I think, what we need deep in our hearts. And in this, I'm going to say generation, and I don't mean a generation by an age. I mean in this generation, in this 20 to 30 year generation where we are so far down in the pit of, and I did these statistics on one video, like something, such an over 40% or something like that are suffering from depression, 50% anxiety, something like that. I'm spitting them out right now. I don't remember them for sure, but it's massive amounts of numbers. Massive. We are in some ways never ending pits that constantly need validation, right? Confirmation and encouragement. And the truth is we need to give that, not take it. The Lord gives it. We need to give it to other people. We don't need to keep taking it from other people. We need to be honest in ways that it's uncomfortable. We need to be truthful in ways that it might hurt. And I'm saying that as a person who struggles with all of those things because I love people and I want to be around people and I want them to like me, right? So I am not a spokesperson in speaking the truth. In love, I speak in love, but speaking the truth sometimes are ways in which I struggle. So For me, that is not as easy as I say when I push it out to everybody, but it's for me as well. And that's where we're ending today, because it's not, I always want to end on a joyful note, but it's not always just going to be that way, because sometimes the word is really tough, and sometimes that's what we need to hear at the time. So I hope that I was encouraging, or maybe challenging, but not depressing, and not destroying your faith. So, because I know that we all bear that kind of responsibility. So if you stuck with me and this was a blessing to you, I want you to like it, share it, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time. But of course, in the meantime, keep reading.